A precarious global space may present challenges in South Africa's quest to grow its economy. On the country's focus,
Ninth new development bank gathering kicked off in Cape Town with a $300 million lifeline to South Africa's Transnet. The ports and rail operator.
In a significant move aimed at bolstering South Africa's economic resilience, the African Development Bank has approved a staggering $475 million loan to the country. This critical financial injection comes at a time when South Africa faces mounting fiscal pressures, energy challenges, and a rising cost of living. What does this massive loan mean for the economy, public services, and the future of millions of South Africans? Stay with us as we break down what's behind the loan, where the funds are headed, and what it signals for the continent's financial future. Fixing the energy crisis, powering up South Africa. South Africa has been battling blackouts for well over a decade, with rolling load-shedding disruptions that paralyzed mining, manufacturing, and everyday life. Take 2023. Scheduled outages piled up to 289 days worth of power cuts, way worse than the 157 days recorded in 2022, crippling businesses and forcing many to rely on expensive diesel generators. The African Development Bank's latest $474.6 million loan, part of its infrastructure governance and green growth program, squarely targets that crisis. This second phase of the Just Energy Transition Plan follows an earlier $300 million initiative in 2023, which began reshaping the power sector and boosting renewables. Now, with fresh funding, the focus is on structural reforms, vertical separation of Eskom's generation and transmission arms, new investment frameworks, and efficiency upgrades. By stabilizing the grid and supporting green energy, this loan seeks to reduce grid failures, lower costly diesel dependency, and foster confidence for private sector investors. It's like fixing the brain before the body follows. And with IMF projections anticipating a 0.2 to 0.4 percentage point annual GDP boost from this energy shift between 2025 and 2030, the payoff could resonate across the economy. The hope is that a cleaner, more resilient energy system doesn't just power homes. It reignites growth, attracts capital, and makes South Africa competitive again on the global stage. For a country long hamstrung by electricity woes, this isn't just financial aid. It's a blueprint for recovery and reinvention. Unclogging the rails and ports, re-engineering freight flow. You can't improve the economy if trucks and trains sit idle in piles of delays. South Africa's rail and port systems have been major choke points, holding back mining exports and crimping automotive manufacturing. Congestion at ports and decrepit rail lines left goods stranded, eroding competitiveness. The AFDB loan tackles these bottlenecks head-on through targeted rail reforms and transport upgrades. Central to this is the vertical separation of rail operations, splitting infrastructure ownership from service provision to attract private investment and increase efficiency. The funding will also support modern logistics frameworks and digital readiness, cutting down on shipping lags and boosting speed to market. In a country where exports reached $154 billion in 2023, with machinery, vehicles, and minerals leading the way, modern transport links are essential. The ripple effects are huge: reduced downtime for freight haulage, streamlined mining supply chains, better port turnover, and a foundation for regional SADC integration. For viewers, the message is simple. Moving goods faster means more jobs, better trade, and a healthier economy. And that's exactly the momentum this loan is designed to drive. Greening industry, renewable momentum, and EVs. This loan isn't just about fixing old systems, it's a springboard for the green economy, with strong emphasis on renewables, electric vehicle, EV manufacturing, and green hydrogen. The IGGGP channels funds straight into sustainable industrialization. South Africa's move towards renewables already kicked off in earlier phases. This round accelerates capacity, grid integration, and environmental resilience. In tandem, the program is supporting EV sector growth, an area with massive job potential, and laying groundwork for green hydrogen development, which could transform industrial processes and energy exports. These are bold bets on the future. Notably, women will receive 70% of social employment fund benefits, and youth-focused training is baked in, making sure the green wave is also a social lift. This isn't just energy reform, it's economic re-engineering. By weaving equity into energy and green tech into growth, South Africa is doing more than keeping the lights on. It's flipping the switch on a new development model. Viewers should see this as a pivot from coal dependence to clean energy, from fossil fuel jobs to green careers. By blending industrial strategy with environmental targets, the project positions South Africa as a regional leader, showing how legacy fossil economies can make a real transition, and fast. Building social equity, jobs, youth, and women at the core. Every dollar counts more when it supports inclusion. This loan weaves social equity into infrastructure. 70% of beneficiaries from the expanded Social Employment Fund will be women, and new youth skills programs are on the menu. That's a targeted counterpunch to South Africa's stubbornly high unemployment and inequality. At $16,080 in 2023 PPP per capita, income inequality remains among the highest globally, and women and young people often get left behind. By directing green infrastructure projects toward female and youth labor, the loan ensures jobs reach those hit hardest by economic stagnation. And with green sector training, the country is building future-ready skills. Think solar installation, rail tech, EV mechanics. Imagine a young woman from the township trained as a solar technician, powering homes and earning a stable living. Impactful stuff. And this isn't a side effort, it's core to the program. The green economy won't be sustainable if it's only green. It has to be just. Including youth and women doesn't just boost fairness, it boosts resilience. It helps ensure the energy and transport systems being built are maintained by diverse and local talent who live in these communities. These are the people who will protect the grid, keep trains running, and install the infrastructure of tomorrow. So, the loan isn't just an investment in watts and wires. It's a bet on human potential and on making South Africa's energy transition not just cleaner, but fairer and more inclusive at every level. Plugging into the Paris Agreement climate commitments. You've heard the Paris Agreement buzz. South Africa has pledged to cut greenhouse emissions to between 398 and 510 million tons of CO2 by 2025 and further down to 350 to 420 million tons by 2030. The IGGGP loan aligns directly with those carbon goals, boosting renewables, upgrading transport logistics, enabling green industry and hydrogen, and reducing diesel source power. It's strategic, not random. It also helps the country meet its updated nationally determined contributions under the Paris Treaty. This coordination matters, especially during South Africa's G20 presidency, when global eyes are on climate leadership. The financing isn't tucked away offshore, it's central to national strategy. The international package, including $1.5 billion from the World Bank, 500 million euros from KfW, $200 million from JICA, and $150 million from OPEC Fund, totals nearly $2.78 billion in coordinated finance. That kind of global buy-in sends a signal. South Africa isn't just asking for money, it's committing to green change. The IGGGP is part of a choreography, not a solo act. These are moves on the global climate stage, with South Africa dancing in step with serious players. For audiences, this is a story of international leverage meeting national strategy, an urgent, financed shift toward a low-carbon future. The loan doesn't just check a climate box, it proves that when goals are aligned, money flows, emissions fall, and leadership rises gradually. Why it matters. A model for Africa's future. This isn't just about South Africa. Across the continent, countries face the same trifecta: rolling blackouts, outdated transport, social inequality, and a high-carbon legacy. South Africa's green transition, underpinned by this loan, could serve as a blueprint, proof that industrial revival and climate action can go hand in hand. AFDB sees this as a model: build renewables, reform power utilities, clear freight choke points, empower women and youth, co-finance with global partners, and the rest of Africa watches and learns. Moreover, this loan follows the AFDB's first direct subnational loan to Johannesburg for urban infrastructure, signaling a shift toward more decentralized, locally led development. If South Africa turns the corner, everyone wins. Global investors gain confidence, green tech scale increases, and regional trade gets a boost. For the YouTube audience, it's more than finance. It's story time, an African nation at a crossroads, choosing sustainability over stagnation, and proving that big dreams backed by smart investment can transform economies and lives. As South Africa gears up to utilize this $475 million lifeline from the African Development Bank, eyes across the continent will be watching closely. Will this loan spur economic reform and recovery, or raise concerns over debt sustainability? The path forward depends on transparency, implementation, and how effectively these funds are managed. For now, this historic financial move marks another chapter in Africa's evolving development narrative. Be sure to subscribe for updates as we continue to follow the impact of this decision on South Africa and the broader African economy. Thanks for watching.